Hey, what's going on? It's Monday once again. Time for ghost stories, shit like that.
Yeah. Oh man, I gotta get warmed up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get your shit together, Tom.
I'm getting it together. Just need more alcohol.
You need more alcohol.
Need more alcohol. Yeah. Trying to jumpstart this shit. Been fucking working on bikes all day.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot you had to do all that.
Sprayed that plastic dip rubber coating all over the frame. So now it's rubber coated. Thick too.
Cool.
Yeah, I didn't want to paint first. I want to try what a rubber coating would do for it first. We'll see, because I got that rubber in other places, and it's held up for years.
Yeah.
Best thing about it is you can just pull it off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not stuck to it really. You just pull it off in a big sheet if you don't like it.
Cap guy talking about some cooking shows.
Yeah.
Talking about and also a very nice sounding set of knives that he bought today. $99. That's not bad though for a six knife set.
Yeah, that would be
good ones.
That would be like a decent, inexpensive set.
Yeah.
A fucking really good set, especially something that was like specialized for sushi and shit, like cutting sushi and crap like that. $1,000. Easy.
Yeah.
They got fucking knife sets out there, but it's like a scalpel. It'll fucking, you could have something real delicate that would normally just mash. That shit'll just go through it like a laser. It's like a surgical scalpel. Wouldn't even bend the sushi roll. You know.
See, I'd be scared to death to use knives like that because I'd just cut all my fingers off at the end of the first day.
Easily.
Just, shoot, and I'd be like, well, guess I didn't need those fingers.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. You gotta have good knife skills.
And you know how klutzy I am, so you know what I mean. I just would rather not. You know.
Yeah.
Next Dimension Media says, "Hi Jenny, wondering if you started using any AI tools for your job. Only asking because I've been doing a deep dive into various AI graphics tools lately. I have actually started using AI for not at my job, but I'm actually experimenting with it for a new board game that I want to do." And it's actually coming out pretty cool. Like I just kind of I use Dream by Wombo, which I just picked one. I guess they're all kind of similar. But the nice thing about Dream by Wombo is that it has like a whole bunch of different filters, and they add new filters like pretty much every week. It looks like I have the app on my phone and I use it on the desktop as well. But yeah, that's mainly what I've been using it for. And sometimes I use it for for if I'm doing like poster art, like for Memento Mori or something like that. Like I'll see what it comes up with, like if it comes up with something cool looking. But yeah, sometimes it comes up with some really, and they finally added like 3 horror filters, which I was like, yeah, it took you guys long enough, because they had like some sci-fi ones and like some steampunk ones and like some synthwave ones, but I was like, why don't you guys have any horror filters? But they had one called Spectral, but it's always, and it's cool, but it's like it's always like buildings, you know what I mean, like creepy old houses and stuff like that, really, no matter what prompt you put in, which I'm like, well, that's not that useful. But the horror ones are good, and actually it seems like it's getting better. But sometimes I still put in a phrase and then it comes up with something. I'm like, where the fuck did you get that from? Like, that's nothing like what I said, but okay. So it's not perfect, obviously, because sometimes I can't get what I want, you know what I mean? And it takes a really long time. Let's see. Zach says, Midjourney, is it Midjourney or MindJourney? I can't really see. Is the best art generator. It's subscription, but only $10 a month for the basic plan. Yeah, there's a lot of really good ones I've heard. But like I said, I've just been using Dream by Wombo because that was kind of the first one I came up with. I'm like, oh, this one's neat. So, I mean, I might experiment with some other ones like going down the line, but I don't use it that much, like I said. I'm just kind of thinking about like a board game that I want to do. And I want to use it for like the cards, That's all. So, yeah, how are you doing over there, Tom? Is the alcohol... leaching in yet? It's not taking.
No, I'm good.
It's not taking effect yet. Okay. So this episode right here that we're talking about, and and I have to say too that this week is going to be like a whole paranormal palooza, because not only are we doing the haunting show today like we usually do, but on Wednesday our main show is also going to be paranormal. And it's a case that I've been wanting to talk about for a while. It's the Ammons haunting. Yeah. Which I actually wrote about in my book, The Unseen Hand, like a long time ago. And this is the one that Zach... See, I keep saying Baggins, but I'm pretty sure that he said Bagans.
Bagans, yeah.
And I was like, oh, I thought...
You don't want to say Baggins?
I thought it was Baggins like Bilbo Baggins. So we actually last night we actually watched the documentary that Zach Bagans made about the Ammons house, which he bought. But we'll save most of that for Wednesday. But it's a fascinating case. Tom didn't really know much about it.
That was Amazon.
Yeah, it was on Amazon Prime. If you have an Amazon Prime subscription, you can watch it on there for free.
What was the name of that? Do you remember?
Demon House. It's just called Demon House. Yeah.
It was interesting because it was like a documentary, and it had the actual witnesses.
Yeah.
It's taking place in Gary, Indiana, and I've lived in Detroit for a couple years, and Gary's looking a little bit to the west there. It's a post-apocalyptic fucking place. It's falling apart. Not as bad as Detroit. Detroit's almost gone now. But the witnesses to it are the most interesting part of the case. The Baggins, I wouldn't trust much. He's a flim-flam guy, man. Fucking.
He does kind of come off like that.
He comes off as fucking trying to put on a big show. But the witnesses are kind of, some of them are compelling. Some of them aren't. Some of them want money for their testimony. I'll tell you anything kind of deal. How much you going to pay me? But I think something happened there. I think it was poltergeist, though.
Yeah.
I think it's what it was, because it involved kids.
Camp Guy said they got a new sandwich at Publix. Chicken, bacon, smoked Gouda with barbecue sauce. Tomatoes, onions, lettuce, etc. I don't remember what they called it, but it was new and on sale. That actually does sound really good.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Every time I go, though, I always I'm like, oh, maybe I'll get something else, but I always end up getting that roast beef on multi-grain.
You can get it in foot.
Yeah, you can probably get them all. You can get them all in foot long. And I like around Thanksgiving they have that that Thanksgiving sub for a little while. That's also delicious.
Yeah, we're gonna have to go get some more turkeys. Day after Thanksgiving, go down there and buy 5 turkeys.
Yeah,
60 cents a pound. Like
we still have some from last year.
I got 4 turkeys down there.
We still have 4 turkeys.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe we should make.
I just slow cook them.
Yeah, they're good.
Put some, cover them up and put some, what do you call it? Liquid smoke on them. Don't even stuff them. Just like a little smoked turkey kind of thing. It's good. Just make sandwiches and just eat it. Eat it right off the bone.
Also, Dave is here saying hello to you both. Hey, what's going on? Popped in to say hey. Yeah, sorry we haven't been in mannequins for the last few weeks, but we just haven't been out anywhere really.
Dave got a tribute tattoo of Kaylee on his arm.
I saw that. It's cool. Yeah. We were talking about her the other day.
We were talking about her the other day. Cady was our little daughter, our little lesbian daughter that died of fucking cancer.
Yeah.
We called her our daughter. We hung out with him.
Yeah. Yeah, we've talked about her before. It was sad.
Yeah.
Poor thing. Yeah, that was really sad.
Couldn't help her. They found it too late. It was 8 her up.
Yeah, and she was young too. Really
young. She's 30, maybe 31.
I think she was 34.
34. Okay, but she looked like a little kid. She was only maybe 4'11".
Yeah.
Little Texican girl.
Yeah. Zach says also, hooray! I gave myself a haircut and it doesn't look awful. All right, good for you. And then Camp Guy then says about the sandwiches, I usually get the Italian all the way, but this one was like $7.99 promo for a 12-inch. Wow, that's a good deal. I'm going to have to try that. Well, I say I'm going to try that out, but then when I get down there, I'm like, oh, the roast beef, it's so good. And then he says, I like my sub like I like my women, all the way, with heavy onions and banana peppers.
Okay. All right.
You do you, man. All right. Yeah, Jeffy Hart said, you gave me an idea for lunch tomorrow. All right. So like I said, the Ammons haunting that's what we're going to talk about on Wednesday night's show, like the main show. But on this evening's show, we are talking about season 7 of A Haunting, episode 3. I think it was episode 3. And we skipped a couple episodes because we already did some season 7 ones like a while back. So this is the first one in season 7 that we hadn't done yet. And it was called Demon Unearthed, even though I kept wanting to say Demon Unleashed. But that's because there was another episode called The Unleashed that we already did. So I was confusing both of them. See? So like I said, it's that fucking... It's the bingo. It's the word bingo that they use, where they just keep pulling the words out of the hat and like putting them together. So Demon Unearthed, which actually does sort of play into the actual story. Kind of. So, as I mentioned, this takes place in Garden Grove, Iowa. Oh, I don't think I did mention that, but that's where it takes place. Garden Grove, Iowa. And I think this happened like in the early 2000s, or like it started out in the early 2000s. So you have the Rice family. The dad is Norman, the mom is Jennifer, and they have a son named Andrew who he's grown up now, obviously, and he was on the show, but he was saying that he was about 8 or 9 at this time. So they see this old Victorian mansion, and they wanted it for a long time, and they finally, get a chance to buy it. Now, this was built, they said it was built at the turn of the century, so I'm assuming, 1900, by some kind of famous rich businessman in town. Now, apparently, Garden Grove, Iowa, which I didn't know this, but this was kind of a major city at the turn of the century because, there was a big railroad hub, I guess. So, it's, spoiler alert, it's not a major city anymore, but it used to be. So, Jennifer is super jazzed about buying this house because she felt like it belonged to her and she was the one that was supposed to fix it all up and all this other kind of stuff. I'm like, if you ever feel that way about a house, I'm not really sure that's a good thing because that's how a lot of horror stories start. I'm just saying. So the first thing that happens is that they're there and, they're doing the whole thing and the kid's like, wow, we're going to live here. It's so big and blah, blah, blah. So, so they do that. And then he looks up in the upper window and sees a real creepy fucking ghosty dude, obviously, looking out the upper window, with a fucking, it was like a derby or something, derby kind of hat. Now, I was confused at first because they showed this in the reenactment, but he didn't say that he'd seen that. But then, later on in the show, he did say that he had seen the guy in the window. So, I guess they didn't mention it at the time, that they showed it in the reenactment, but they did mention it later. So, because I was sitting there going, well, did he really see that? Because he didn't say that shit. But yeah, so he saw, a creepy dude, up in the window and was like, huh, I wonder what that's about. Now, at this point, the narrator says, at this house, an unspeakable horror took place. And even though it's unspeakable, they're going to tell you what it is anyway. So, which is funny, because I was like, okay. Apparently, according to rumor in town, the guy, I guess it was the businessman who built the house, right? Apparently, allegedly, he had an affair with one of the maids, or one of the servants that in the house, and got her pregnant. And then, he obviously couldn't have that getting around because it would ruin his reputation and everything like that. So, supposedly, she sort of accidentally on purpose fell down the stairs, and then he supposedly buried her in the basement. That was how the story went anyway. I don't know if that's actually true or not, but that was what everybody in town thought happened at that house, right? So I guess the house had been empty for a while, and partially I'm supposing because of those rumors about it. So the Rice family move in though, and they're planning on spending quite a bit of money to fix it all up, even though this scene was actually kind of hilarious to me because Norman, the husband, he's because Jennifer is just all starry-eyed and she's like, oh my god, we're gonna restore it just the way it was and blah blah blah, and he's just like, yeah, do what you want, honey, but don't go crazy, okay? Please don't spend all my money, you know what I mean? He was kind of going like that. She's like, no, we have to do it exactly right, and he's like, oh fuck me, this was a mistake. But yeah, so it was kind of like that. Now here's what I thought was kind of weird, is that this house that they're moving into is in Iowa. Norman, the dad, is a software engineer or something like that. He works in Arizona, which is more than 1,000 miles away. So he's gone for I mean, I guess it'd be similar to them being a truck driver or something like that, but he's gone for months at a time because you're not going to go back and forth from fucking Arizona to Iowa just to see your damn family, are you?
He must be building something. It's construction, bro.
Yeah, I guess he was a contractor or something. Well, he did software. They said.
He's
a software engineer.
Yeah. And what year was this?
Early 2000s.
So they couldn't remote work.
Mm-mm.
Makes you wonder. See, I'm thinking, was this dude a fucking security contractor?
Yeah, maybe.
Was he out there working on those missile ranges?
Yeah.
He'd be down there for a long time. It's it's like being in the military.
Yeah, I guess so. Or it'd be working on an oil rig or something. You'd be gone for months at a time.
You're a month on and a week off, and a month on and a week off, that kind of shit.
I guess I just always thought that was
month
weird.
On, month off.
I guess it's not that weird.
All right.
Maybe some people do. I guess it's weird to us because we're together all the time.
Yeah.
So it'd be really strange.
No, some dudes leave.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I think some of that oil rig work was a month out there and a month back.
Yeah, that's
month
what I
out,
heard.
Month back.
Right.
And those dudes got big houses and nice wives and shit, and I guess you gotta trust them.
Yeah.
They got kids, a lot of them, and but they're making at least $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
Out there on that damn oil rig. If they're doing underwater welding, it's several $100,000 a
Well,
year.
I hope they pay those people well, because that is a very, very dangerous profession.
Those dudes are. They'll
That
wake
is
your ass up at fucking 3 o'clock in the morning, and you got to get in the water and go fix some shit at 3 in the morning.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Fucking 1,000 feet underneath the water.
Yeesh. I don't know. I
With the whales and the fucking giant fucking squids.
Right, that's what
and your
I'm
flashlight in the fucking total darkness.
Yeah,
you and one other dude.
No, thank you.
Trying to weld this piece of shit.
That's like one of my worst nightmares. So yeah, I don't even want to know what's down there at the bottom.
That's a man's job right there, man. That better be a man's paycheck too.
Like I said, they better be paying those people a lot.
That's
Holy
right.
shit, that's horrifying.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people wouldn't do it, and I don't blame them.
Hell no.
I wouldn't do it. Fuck that.
I do not like deep water, man.
Me neither.
I mean, I
at all.
Used to, snorkel and shit off the Gulf of Aqaba. When we were in Egypt, and it was clear blue water. You could see all the way down to the bottom. You had good visibility right outside that reef. You'd see big fish and following you and shit, and it was nice because you could see far.
Yeah.
But no, in the deep blackness with a flashlight.
Absolutely not.
And you fucking shine the light down and you can't see the bottom. You're basically flying over. You're basically flying. And you're flying over a mountain range for all you know. As high as a jet would be off the ground. No thanks. Anything could just swim up and grab you. Something huge.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like I've had nightmares ever since I was a kid of like being like really deep underwater, and then like you said, like all you have is a flashlight or some shit like that. And you go like that, and there's a big fucking shark like right there, like right in your face, like, hey, get a munchie now.
Or you're shining the light around, and the beam just goes out into infinity, kind of just fades away, and then you hit something. There's something big there, oh shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, even if it was far, it would scare me.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? 100. If it was 50 yards away underneath the water, and I could make it out, and it's just like a big ass fucking squid. Or a huge
like
octopus
big eye
watching
or some
you.
shit like
I was
that.
like, oh shit, we gotta go. Big ass Humboldt squid,
I have a hard time even
of
like watching movies with shit like that in it. That just like gives me really bad anxiety.
Yeah,
that's one of the worst things I can
Humboldts
imagine.
will kill you. They're not that big, but they're big enough to kill you.
Yeah,
the size of a large dog, and they fucking run around in packs, and they're intelligent. They don't live long, and they're dumb as fuck. That's funny. They're intelligent, but they're dumb. They got an octopus's intelligence, but they're not very old, and they're filled with fucking testosterone. They fucking grow real quickly, and they only live like about a year or so. And because of that, they're ravenously hungry all the time. And if their buddy fucking gets wounded, they turn on him and eat him, and then they'll go back to try to eat you. Fucking dangerous things, man. Humboldt.
Camp Guy said, I've heard of dudes that got sucked down inside a hole in the bottom of the ocean.
That would suck.
Yeah, big time. So yeah, I'm just gonna try and stay as far away from the ocean as possible. I mean, like I said, I was born in Daytona, which is right on the ocean, if you didn't know that. And so I certainly went into the Atlantic Ocean a lot of times when I was a kid, but I never really liked it because my mom loved the beach, so she would take us there all the time. But I was just kind of like, I had like little sharks go up against my leg and stuff, and I'm just like, nope. Not for me. No, thank you.
I've been out in fishing boats in the Gulf of Mexico with my dad and his buddies. This is back in the fucking 80s when I was a kid. Seasick as a motherfucker. Even though Uncle Punch's daughter was there. I was probably about 14. She's about 16 in a bikini, just hot as shit. Just fucking up, laid up in the top. I was still just throwing up and puking the whole time. I was embarrassed as hell. And she came down there and gave me a nutter buddy. What do you call it? A little fucking Little Debbie cake. One of those. She goes, "Here, throw that up. It'll feel good." That's what she fucking told me. It's fucking funny.
Here, it'll taste just as good coming back up again.
And never a fan of the water, man.
No, me neither.
No.
Like I said, every time we watch that show, like I Shouldn't Be Alive or something like that, like every time there's one where the people get stranded out in the middle of the ocean, we're just like, oh, let's never go in the ocean ever.
Yeah, there's too much shit that can go wrong out there.
No, thank you.
Too much shit that can go wrong. And people too far away to help you. If you need help right away, you're fucked.
Nope.
If you went out there and fucking were fishing and lost a limb or something, you probably wouldn't make it back.
Nope.
By the time they got to you, you'd be a goner.
I don't know. Sometimes I think it's like I'd rather go to the moon than go out there. You know what I mean? I don't know about that. I don't want to go to the moon either. I'm just saying that if somebody like made me choose, I'm not really sure. Not really sure. I think I'd rather go to space.
Yeah, I'd rather go to space. Space doesn't scare me as much.
I mean, space scares me too, but I think the ocean.
By the vacuum.
But I think the ocean scares me worse.
You get killed by the vacuum if the spacecraft gets fucking compromised, but it's not as scary as fucking drowning. vacuum would kill you pretty quick.
Or like I said, getting your leg bit off by a shark or some shit
getting eaten
like
by
that.
something.
Ugh, no, thank you.
At least you had a good view on your way out.
Yeah, that's true.
I died in space, motherfucker. Beat that. Just like that, you know.
Yeah, at least it's a badass way to
Right,
go. Yeah. All right, so how did we get distracted like that? Okay. Oh, so we were talking about the guy.
Yeah.
They live in Iowa, and yet he works in Arizona. So he's gone all the time. Like I said, it really does seem like, and I don't know why that is. I don't know if they just choose stories that are like that because it makes the rest of the family seem more vulnerable. But it does seem that, no, I don't know what the percentage is, but I'm going to say 90% of the episodes of Haunting always have the dad. It's either like a single mom and kids, or it's a family that has a dad, but the dad like always works the night shift, or he's like a truck driver, or he's gone all the time, or something like that. Like, so there's just some reason why he's not there all the time. And I just wonder if they do that on purpose. So yeah, so this guy is gone. I think he seems like he's gone for like months at a time, right? Like working in Arizona. So Jennifer basically is obliged to sort of like work restoring the house by herself, which she doesn't really mind because she did want to do it, but you know what I mean. Now she does have a little team of contractors. The main contractor's name is Claude, and so they're all there working on the house. Now there was an incident where Claude, I guess he was putting in a chandelier like in the dining room or whatever, and he's on the ladder, and according to him, I guess, the ladder started shaking so much that like that, and then like he fell off of it, and he said that he was pushed off, and Jennifer said that he was like super nervous, and he's just like, yeah, I gotta go, I don't want to be in this fucking house anymore, and he took off. Now Jennifer said that she also overheard a couple of the other workers talking about don't you know what happened in this house, and it's like, I'm not going down in the basement, fuck that shit, like stuff like that. And then they told the story about, yeah, the guy that built the house, like he knocked up a servant and like then killed her and buried her down there, and he's like, I'm not going down there, fuck that, you know what I mean? Now Andrew, the son, he was about 8 or 9, as I said, he actually overheard this conversation too. And it's like, even though he was creeped out by this, like, ooh, holy shit, there might be a lady like buried down in the basement, he's also, you know, he's like a kid, so he's just kind of like, neat, I'm gonna go check that shit out. So apparently he goes down into the basement, and the light on the wall starts flickering and shit like that. And then he said that he felt like when he was down there, he said it felt like somebody dropped a ton of bricks on me. Like, that's what he said, that he felt like really heavy. And then when he's down there, he said he felt what felt like a skeleton hand grabbing him by the ankle, like coming out of the dirt and like grabbing him by the ankle. I don't know if that was his imagination because he had just heard about somebody being buried down there or what, but he said he did feel like what felt like a skeleton hand. So understandably, he's like, fuck, and he just like runs out of the basement, right? And he does not go back down in there like for the rest of the time, I guess.
How old was he?
He said he was 8 or 9.
8 or 9?
8 or 9, yeah.
Yeah, he got spooked.
Yeah.
He imagined it.
I imagine.
But it might have been pretty vivid, so he felt it. Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Doesn't mean the ghost wasn't fucking with him, though. It'll make you see and imagine all kinds of shit. I was in that bad house that I was in for a while. Dreaming about fucking starving puppies in all the pipes. Having weird imagination shit going on. It was just weird, you know. Might have been something like that.
Yeah, it could have been. So, July of 2001, the house is mostly done, even though Jennifer notes that it's really, really hard to keep contractors there because nobody wants to work on the house. It's kind of like a summer wind situation where everybody knows the reputation of this house and is creeped out by it, so that she can't really get anybody to stay there to work on it for any length of time. So she ends up doing a lot of the work herself, I guess. Now, she didn't think that she really believed any of the shit. Like, she's like, I didn't know if the rumors were true or anything like that. I didn't really believe it. I thought it was just, you know, old wives' tales or whatever. But she knew that other people believed it, and that was kind of like affecting the shit, you know what I'm saying? However, she did note that around this time, she started hearing footsteps, like walking around upstairs, like in the middle of the night. So on one occasion, apparently, she goes to check on Andrew, like thinking maybe it's the kid, like, you know, farting around up there in the middle of the night. So she goes in there to check on him, and he's fine, he's sleeping, and she's just like, oh, you know, whatever, and she just, like, leaves the room. Now, here's another thing that they did, when they do this a lot on this show. So she turns around and leaves. The kid is sleeping. So obviously nobody could have seen this, so they just put it in there for dramatic effect. But they put the ghost guy, who will feature largely in the episode going forward, the creepy guy with the derby that Andrew saw in the window previously, puts him in the room, like standing by the window, like looking creepily, like at the kid while he's sleeping. But like I said, I will note that nobody said they saw that. They just put that in there just to be scary. So there's that. So late summer of 2001, again, like Jennifer and Andrew have been in the house themselves because Norman is, like I said, away at work still. And at this point, Andrew has one of his friends whose name is Cody. And I will note that, is this the same Cody that was on Demon Child? I think not. The one that peed in the closet because man said he could?
Yeah.
Because I was like, that kid's name was Cody too. Wouldn't that be funny if they just both... They happen to be your friends.
Man said it was okay.
Man said it was okay. I could come over to this other haunted house and visit. But yeah. So Andrew has this other Cody, non-Demon Child Cody, over for a sleepover to the house. Now, Cody is like walking out and he sees a guy standing at the top of the stairs. It's the creepy dude with the derby and whatnot. And then Cody like kind of freezes, as you would. And so Andrew goes over there and he sees the guy too. Now what they start doing is that he turns the light on and the ghost disappears, right? And they're just like, what the fuck? And then they turn the light off and then he comes back like he's still there, like with the light off. So they go off, on, off, on. And he keeps like, and then like I think the third or fourth time, like when he turns the light off, the ghost isn't there anymore. And then he's like, oh, I guess he's gone. Like, who the fuck was that? And then, like, he turns the light on again and then off again. And then, blah, like, the ghost is, like, right there. You know what I mean? Like, and that, I really liked the makeup job they did on that ghost because he was actually, for real, like, creepy looking.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Like, he had, like, real kind of pop eyes, you know what I mean? He wasn't old, but he was, like, just, like, an old, like, kind of cadaverous looking dude with like these big
I think he was
creepy eyes.
60s, wasn't he?
Maybe. It was kind of hard to tell, like with all the makeup on him. And like I said, he looked all kind of like, turn of the century, like with that kind of like derby hat on or whatever. It's not a derby, but it's a hat like that. You know what I mean? Like with the round top. I know it had
bowler hat.
Maybe it was a bowler hat. It's not a Homburg, is it?
I don't know.
But I don't know why I know the names of all these different kind of hats, but
that's something Laurel and Hardy would wear.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, so that was a good scene where like the two little boys were like turning the light off and on, and then sometimes it goes to be there and then sometimes not, and then they turn off the light and then he's like, oh, he's gone, and then ta-da, that he's like right there in their face and they're like, bah, you know what I mean? That was pretty awesome. And then Andrew, grown up Andrew, he says, well, Cody never talked to me again after that, which like I said, again, not a surprise. Now, Andrew does not tell his mom about any of this stuff that's going on because I guess he didn't really want her to worry about it. Now, in September of 2001, the renovations have been completely finished, and it turns out that all of the other busybodies, all these nosy Parkers, in fucking Garden Grove, Iowa, I always want to say Illinois, but it's not, it's Iowa. All these other people find out that all the renovations are done, and they want to come by and see the house. Absolutely not shy about showing up at the house being like, hey, heard you over at the house, can we troop through here? You know what I mean? It's just that kind of situation. I'd be like, no, this is my fucking house, piss off. But they're a lot nicer than me, I guess. So they said, okay, well, we're going to do an open house so everybody in the town can come through and see the renovations because I guess they did it like back to how it was back in the old days. So one of the ladies that turns up to the open house is this older lady, and she says that she's the great niece of the dude who built the house. And another thing she says, which I would think was kind of creepy, I don't know what her tone was when she said it, but she says, my great uncle or whoever, he would be very happy to see a child growing up here. And I'm like, I don't know. That sounds like kind of creepy to me. If like some random old lady you didn't know like said that while they were looking at your 8 or 9 year old son, I'd be like, get the fuck out right now. But yeah. So I guess Jennifer was not alarmed. Now she ends up giving Jennifer a scrapbook and shows pictures of the owners. And the guy who's in the picture, who was the banker that built the house, is clearly the same because, the kid sees it. Andrew sees the picture. And he just, like, he doesn't tell him. He's like, holy shit, that's the ghost I saw. He's just there, and he just had a comic book in his hand, and he just drops it. And then he's just like, I gotta go do some shit. Bye. You know what I mean? Because he, like, wigs out. And they're just like, I wonder what that was all about. But he's like, yeah, it was clearly, like, the same person. Now, the old lady says, because Jennifer, maybe, I guess she wanted to know. then there's no good way of kind of broaching this situation, I guess, this topic. But she says to the great niece, she says, "Oh, well, you've heard the rumors around town, right? Like, about your relative who supposedly killed somebody." And all the old lady said was, "Oh, well, you shouldn't believe rumors." So like I said, I don't know if the shit's true or not. Maybe she just didn't want to know about it. I don't know. But one thing that the old lady said is that the banker that built the house and his wife had always really wanted children, but they were never able to have any. And they said that the nursery is like right next to the master bedroom because they were planning on having kids, but it never worked out for whatever reason, and they were like really upset about it, which is one of the reasons, I guess, that the old lady said, "Oh, it's nice that there's a kid growing up in here," because, you know, they would have liked that. Now, Andrew, again, he still doesn't tell his mom. Like, he doesn't say that picture is totally like the ghost that I've seen several times. Like, he didn't say anything to her. So there's one scene where he's in his room playing with some Duplo blocks, you know what I mean? And then there's like a rocking chair, like a wicker rocking chair in his room, and it starts rocking by itself, like behind him. So Andrew, like, very slowly, like, turns around to look, which I don't think I would. I'd just be like, "Yep, I'm out, bye," and I just run out the room without looking. But he didn't. He turned around and looked, and he sees a woman sitting in the chair who looks like real distraught, just kind of rocking. So at this point, he's like, "Yeah, I don't really want to hang out in the house too much anymore." So when he doesn't have to be in the house, he just goes and plays in the park and plays out in the yard and shit like that, because it's freaking him out. So Norman, who is still away at work at this point, actually has no idea, like, what's going on in this house, because they don't tell him anything, because they're like, you know, he's far away, what the fuck is he gonna do, and we don't want him to worry about us and all this other kind of shit. Now, at this point, like, Jennifer's in her room, and after Andrew saw the lady ghost in his room, he decides he's finally going to tell his mom. So he runs in there and he's like, "I just saw, like, a lady. She was sitting in the rocking chair, like, in my room, and it's, like, really freaky." And then Jennifer was like, well, she's like, "I didn't know if I really believed him. I thought he was, like, maybe imagining it or something." But she was like, "I was trying to make him feel better, so I was kind of like, well, maybe the ghosts are friendly, you know? Maybe they just wanted a kid and they never had one, so they're just, like, kind of hanging out, like, watching over you. It's fine. You know, they won't hurt you or anything like that." So, you know, I don't know. But she was just trying to make the kid feel better. January of 2002. At this point, Norman has been away. I guess he's been away for 7 months. I don't know if he was away for, like, the solid 7 months or if he came back and forth, but it had been 7 months since he went away. So he came home for a little while, like, while he was between jobs or whatever. And again, they didn't really tell him what was going on. However, I guess the first night he's home, like, Norman and Jennifer are in the bed, and they both simultaneously levitate off the bed at the same time, like, whoop, like that. Which Norman is like, "What the fuck?" Which is, yeah, what you would, because he was not primed for this at all. Like, Jennifer didn't say, "Hey, I think our shit's haunted," or anything like that. I don't think Jennifer's really seen anything. She's just, like, heard footsteps and whatnot, but she hasn't really seen anything that, you know, that doesn't have, like, plausible deniability behind it. The kid is mostly who's been seeing stuff at this point.
Levitating two adults off a bed like that without warning. That's very rare. That's something that'd be very rare.
That's
rare
pretty crazy.
That would be like in the poltergeist scene. That would be like a huge event. Very rarely does a conscious person get moved by whatever force it is. And I've never heard of it in a haunting. Not a haunting that had credible investigators involved in it. If there are any credible investigators anymore, I think we know the best one, which would be Steve Mera.
Yeah.
Because, you know, he's open to things, but he's a little level-headed. He doesn't make anything up. Not that I've seen. That's quite a claim.
It is, and it's weird. I think this might be the only case that had that, because now I'm not saying that they haven't had other cases on here before where one person levitated, but two of them simultaneously. Yeah. That's kind of a tall order.
Yeah. That's an unusual. It's an unusual phenomenon. I've never heard that one. Not in this context.
Yeah, like I said, well, I don't want to say it's really common, but it's kind of common in these cases for, like, one person to levitate.
Yeah. Well, Janet, the little girl from the Enfield poltergeist case, was seen to supposedly be levitating off of her bed by a crossing guard, I think, that was standing down on the street. He could see her from where she was standing. He saw her go up and kind of hang there in the window for a second and then come back down. Although, and that case was seen by police. It's well documented. We have the book here. It's called This House is Haunted, written by Guy Lyon Playfair, and it's very much like what happened to me and my family. Just not quite as dramatic as that one. Didn't have the voices or anything. Now later on, somebody said that no, that's not possible because she wouldn't have been able to see that from where that crossing. I think it was a crossing guard. So you got to kind of be there. Some people, you know what I mean, to know the truth. In a lot of cases, even in good cases, you'll have people lie and say that they saw something that was not possible. You know.
Well, the thing about it too is that they might not necessarily be lying deliberately. They might have seen something weird and then remembered it weirder. Like when they thought back, they kept like exaggerating it without really meaning to.
Yeah, like Lois.
That's pretty common.
In our book, Lois told us over the phone that she saw a damn twist tie from a bag of bread, you know, with the wax on it, jump up and write the word "go" on the window. And I know that didn't happen. And she just remembered it that way. Because I found that twist tie right in front of the window on the ground and picked it up. And as I looked out the window to where the car was parked, I saw in wax the word "go." And I had that little twist tie, and that came from the kitchen. And I smeared it along the glass. It was the same thing. It wrote "go" using a twist tie off a bag of bread. I found it. It was on the ground. And it had already been written. And Lois hadn't even been upstairs yet. I told them about it, and she came and saw it. But she didn't remember it that way.
Yeah. But see,
so she's not lying. It's just that's the way she remembered it. I said, no, Lois, that didn't happen. Because I found it like that.
That's what I'm saying.
It had already been done.
And that's kind of why I'm always, like, real skeptical of a lot of paranormal cases. Because
and I mentioned that in the book.
Because most of them come down to, you know, people's just testimony, which can be... And like I said, they might not even be deliberately lying. They might just be remembering things wrong or whatever, or it got exaggerated in their mind.
Yeah.
And that's also why I don't think you should ever just take, like, witness statements as, like, the only thing, like, in a crime case or something like that. Because people can be mistaken without even really meaning to be, you know? Because people's brains are imperfect.
Yeah. And I remembered something wrong that they corrected me on. I remembered that the first object that moved was a lamp. And I remembered the lamp being like a teal colored lamp that was a reproduction of 3 logs lashed together with a damn life preserver hanging on it with the lampshade above it, kind of like something you'd see on the end of a dock. All right. And they told me I was wrong, that wasn't the lamp that moved. The lamp that moved actually was a black wax lamp that they used to have in the 70s that they can make these weird shapes out of. Then they could spray it with acrylic and it would freeze like that.
Yeah.
And as soon as they described the lamp, I went, oh yeah, I remember that lamp. Both of those lamps existed. I just forgot which one it was that moved.
Yeah.
I could have swore it was the one with the life preserver on it.
Yeah, that's not that crazy though, because both of those lamps were in the place. You just forgot which one it was.
And I think they pulled out a photograph of it, didn't they?
Oh,
or did I just remember it in my head? I remembered what it looked like. They said said it was black and brown and red.
I don't remember seeing a picture of it.
Okay, then I just remembered it from memory because I was only 14, I think.
13.
13.
Yeah. So I don't really know, but so these two, supposedly, allegedly, levitated out of bed at the same time. Now, Norman, I think he has, because he was being interviewed on the thing too. And he said that he also saw what he described as like a black entity. I guess like in the corner of the room or something like that when it happened. So as you can imagine, he was a little alarmed by this. And then at this point, Jennifer tells him, oh, by the way, we think the house is haunted. Like Andrew's been seeing all kind of stuff. And Norman got really, really mad. Because he's like, why didn't you tell me that any of this was going on? But here's the thing. If they had told him, like, while he was in Arizona working, he'd have just been like, oh, whatever, you're crazy or you're imagining things, because that's what they always do. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, would it have done any good, like, to tell him? Probably not. I'm just saying. But yeah, he got mad. And then he just goes, like, and he just, like, starts a fight. What, you want to pack up and leave then? And she's like, no, I don't want to leave. I love this house. But she's like, we didn't really want to tell you. You weren't here and blah, blah, blah. But he's like, well, then there's nothing else to talk about. And then he just, like, slams out of the room. I'm like, well, gosh, that was real helpful. Thank you so much for that. But yeah. Now, as the time goes on, I don't know, like, how long it was that he was home. Because, like I said, it was in between, like, his work gigs or whatever. So he's home for a little while. And as the time went on, like, he started to think, like, he didn't like being in the house anymore. He said he felt like he was not alone ever, and he felt unwelcome, as though there was something in the house that was making him feel like it didn't want him there. Also, something lurking in the basement, or you heard something down in the basement, and he goes down in there, and that light starts flickering again, and he said he had the heebie-jeebies about it, and then he, like, was looking around with the flashlight, and then the flashlight inexplicably went out, and then he saw that big black entity again, like, in the corner, like, like, coming up out of the corner like a big fucking demon, or, like, smoke demon or some shit, which was actually, like, pretty cool. I like that effect, too. But it was kind of like the same thing that he saw in the bedroom, apparently.
So far, I would say that Steve Mera would call this a interactive haunting. Is that I think interactive haunting, I think is what he said. A haunting that can actually kind of respond and interact, and it gives you weird feelings, kind of like a bad house, which I had experience with that. But it moves things like a poltergeist.
Yeah, including people.
I think he called that an interactive haunting. I think, yeah.
Yeah.
I have to go back and look at what he wrote.
But yeah, so
trying to classify it based on what they're reporting so far.
Yeah.
So it's because it's got apparitions, and you normally don't see apparitions in poltergeist, but you do in haunting. It's an interesting case, but it's also a mess. The way it's being told to us in this episode, although it's theatrical and it's a good episode, it's hard to keep shit straight. And you're not sure what was actually seen and reported or what they're just showing you. Because they're showing you ghosts, and there's no witness there saying what ghost they saw or what it looked like. What are you doing, Pook? What trying to get underneath the damn black?
What are you doing?
Trying to get underneath the drop cloth.
You should have seen her the other day.
Yeah.
I had the we were streaming on Saturday night, and like on the floor, and I had the mouse pad, this mouse pad up here that looks like a Ouija board, and I had it on the floor, like, so I could, reach it and stuff. And this little kitty spent ages and ages trying to crawl underneath
the mouse pad.
It's
only this big.
Yeah, it's a mouse pad.
Yeah,
and she's just like sitting there going.
What's pretty though, and it looks like a carpet or a throw rug.
She's trying to like tunnel
to get
underneath it, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
She tried to go underneath the damn bathroom rug, like a shower rug. Tried to get underneath there, and she was underneath it, but you can see a big hump, and she was surprised that we could see her.
I think I have the video of that. I don't remember if I put it up on YouTube Shorts or not. No, I didn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, or actually, I might have put it up on YouTube. It's old, like it's from our old house. But I just found her like that. I walked past the bathroom, and she's like underneath the bathroom, right? And you could clearly see her.
Yeah.
I mean, she wasn't hiding.
It's only 3.5 feet by maybe 2 feet.
And she's just like sitting there under it like that. And like, I think she thought she was hiding because she was very surprised when I was like, hey, Pookie, what you doing? And she's like, what? What do you mean you can see me?
She's like, you can see me?
I thought I was hidden. She likes to like climb under stuff. Because sometimes she'll come in the room and you'll find like her front half is like underneath the throw rug, and then like her little butt is just sticking out in the back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she can't see you, so you can't see her.
Right. So I think she thinks she's hiding, even though her butt is very clearly sticking out from underneath the carpet.
It's hilarious.
She's like, but her trying to climb underneath that mouse pad, that was just. I'm just like looking at her, going, "Oh my god, what are you doing?" Because it's so small. She wouldn't fit under there.
She tried though.
Yeah, she did. So when all this was happening, like Norman, they're trying to imply, I guess, that I don't know if I want to say it was possession, but I guess they were trying to like imply that whatever this dark entity was that was in the house was kind of like influencing him or something. So this is happening like around the fall of 2003, they said. So Norman starts acting apparently like even more of a douche than usual. So he's getting like real agitated and real sullen and real angry, just like cranky pants all the time. And also they said that the manifestations got worse, although they didn't really elaborate on that all too much. I'm guessing they're saying like they saw more shit or whatever. So that happens for a while, and I guess it got so bad, and he was just being, such a fucking fuckstick that, when he left again for a few weeks, like, for another work assignment, they said that, Jennifer and Andrew were like, we were relieved that he was leaving, because he just kept fucking starting fights and, like, yelling and screaming at everybody, and he was just, like, he just wasn't any fun to be around. So they were actually relieved when he, like, went back to work. They're like, yeah, piss off. Holy crap, you're making our lives miserable. But yeah. So they're, like I said, they were trying to imply, I guess, that whatever the spirit was in the house was making him act that way. You know what I mean? So while he's gone still, I'm thinking, Jennifer and Andrew, they came home from church one day, and the answering machine is blinking like there's a message on it. But evidently, the answering machine was not plugged in. So so it's not plugged in, but, like, all the lights are on, and the light is blinking like it's, like, there's a message on it. So Jennifer's like, I don't really know why I did this, but I decided I was going to push the play button, which I don't know if I would do that or not. Well, I don't know. I think curiosity would probably get the better of me, so I'd probably push play, too. But it's, it's no good's going to come of it. You know that. I've seen horror
Not
movies.
A haunted house.
I know it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So she does. She pushes the play message button. And she said there's kind of like this inhuman noise, and then a voice saying, guess what? Just like Amityville Horror, get out! Just like that. So I was just like, oh, it's the Amityville house calling.
Hold on, let me say something.
What's that?
If you guys would help out this channel, go ahead and hit that like button, please. And if you're listening to the show recorded, please remember that we have super thanks activated.
Super thanks.
Super thanks. That way you can
It's
get
not
us a
just
tip.
thanks. It's
Super
thanks.
thanks. It's not a regular thanks. It's a super thanks.
Sure. But yeah, so after the Amityville house calls them, apparently, this part was actually kind of funny. We had a good time with this. Jennifer decides she doesn't get a priest, which I thought was kind of odd. So she goes to her church, and they get a bunch of parishioners from the church. Which did that include the priest? I guess so. But it looked like a bunch of parishioners, though.
Yeah, he would show up.
They're going to come and do a blessing in the house. So they all go...
Okay.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, well, if they're going to do a blessing, that's kind of like a damn exorcism type thing. There's a chance that maybe he didn't want anything to do with it.
That's what I'm saying. So I think they just got... He's just like, yeah, we'll do it. Yeah, because he's
vigilantes
probably like...
showed up. Religious vigilantes.
Prayer vigilantes.
Yeah.
Well, I really liked the main guy that was kind of like the main guy that was doing the shit.
Yeah.
Man, the actor that was in it, he was like really good because holy shit, he was like fucking committed to that role.
Oh, the black dude?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was good.
He was super into it.
He was throwing it down.
He was.
You get the fuck out of this house. So yeah, that was the priest though, wasn't it?
See, I don't know because
Yeah.
she said parishioners.
He
I guess
was dressed
it was...
as a Baptist minister.
Oh, was he? Okay.
Yeah, it was
I
him.
didn't. I was looking down like
He
to
was
right now.
dropping his nuts, man.
He was for real.
But then he's like, "Let's get the fuck out of here."
That's what was
and the
awesome
people with him
about
were
it.
running before he left.
Well, because
He's like,
they went down in the basement and like they said the basement was like super creepy and shit like that. So as awesome as he sounded, and he was all just kind of like, you get out of this house and blah blah blah. But then, like I said, like wind starts blowing and the lights start flickering, and then it was like, whoop, let's get out of here. Fuck this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bless. All right, bye.
Yeah.
It was kind of like that kind of situation.
Well, he was. Yeah. Well, no, he didn't. He did his shit, and then once it was over, he's like, "Let's get the fuck." But during the time he was doing his shit, the actor that's portraying him is actually doing his best. Max von Sydow, the power of Christ compels.
Yeah, he was really
doing all that.
He
shit.
was really into it.
He was doing it fucking Southern Baptist style.
Yeah,
it was good.
I liked that. That was one of the highlights of that episode for me. I was like, that actor's awesome. I love him.
Yeah.
But yeah,
and that's the only time you've seen him.
Yeah, I wonder why he's not.
I
wonder why he's not on any of the other episodes.
He was good.
Not that I remember.
Well, maybe in real life that the dude was black, so that they had to get a black dude to play him, and you know what I mean. They just never have a call for a black priest again.
Yeah, maybe not.
Dude dropped his nuts, man. Max von Sydow style.
I mean, if I was a demon, I'd probably leave if he told me to. He was very authoritative. But you know what I mean. So I guess like the parishioners didn't like after they did the blessing. I guess Jennifer like asked them, "Well, how'd it go?" And she said, "No, we don't want to talk about it." It was like that kind of situation. In my notes, I wrote, "Did the blessing work?" Nah, it never does. It never does. And apparently, I don't know if it got worse, but it didn't really get any better. Because not too long after this, I guess Jennifer and Andrew are in the house, and she hears, like, heavy footsteps, And then she goes out in the hall and sees like a figure like walking by the door and down the hall. And so she follows it, which I was like, well, that was brave of you. I don't know if I'd be doing that. I think I'd be like hiding in the fucking closet or something.
Now, Jen said that, the blessings never work. Let me back up a little bit. In this series, throughout the entire seasons that we've seen, there's a pattern. There tends to be a pattern with these stories. There's a shit goes down, paranormal shit happens. There's a blessing. It's calm for a day or two. Then that bitch comes back with a fucking vengeance and is pissed off. Then they gotta have a second blessing that's like a damn exorcism.
Like the first one didn't take.
Like the first one wasn't quite good enough, so you have to fucking go big bore with it. You gotta upgrade, and then that takes care of it long enough for you to get the fuck out, or it kind of takes care of it and you stay in the house and you're scared that it's gonna come back. That's the pattern.
Yeah.
Generally. So yeah, when you're watching a haunted and they come to bless the shit, you can bet that it's not going to, And you can also look how much time's left on the episode. But it's not going to work.
It's like, well, it's only 20 minutes in, so this isn't going to work this time. They're going to have to call. Yeah. They're going to have to call out the big guns.
Now, there's something to be said with that. In the poltergeist event that fucking me and my family went through, if you went in there and tried to bless that place, it would have went fuck you, and it would have got stronger, because it wasn't a demon or a devil. It was RSPK. You can't exercise the subconscious of a living person who's got.
We haven't figured out a way to do that.
Yeah,
yet.
So it'll just rebel against it. All right. And it doesn't matter what you do in a poltergeist case. It tends to resolve itself. They only last a few weeks anyway. So fucking with it is actually counterproductive. It's better just let it run its course. Now, with a haunting, or what they call haunting cases, maybe there's something to bless in the houses. But see, I haven't seen one of those. I was in a bad house too, also, but nothing happened. It's just feelings, So I don't know. Maybe, I'd have to be there. I'd have to see this shit myself, so I could rank it with the other phenomena that I've seen. I don't know if it's bullshit.
Yeah.
But I've seen some wild shit that I know exists, wilder than in some ways wilder than what some of these shows say. And I know that exists, so maybe something like this exists, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah, me neither.
And a lot of it is subjective. These people see it, and then they describe it in a way that, had I seen it, I probably wouldn't have described it that way. People see things differently. Not everybody, you know what I mean? It doesn't even matter what it is. Two people can witness a crime, and the two witnesses fucking describe the crime in two different ways, and then neither one of them could have happened.
Right.
Because memory isn't, especially when you're under stress, you don't have time to really record it in your mind. Memory's very fallible.
Oh yeah, big time.
Big time. And it's been proven.
Yeah.
That you can't trust people's memories.
No. And the longer it goes, the worse
it gets.
Yeah, the more you exaggerate, the more you add details.
Yeah. Big shit happened in fucking the Mammoth Mountain case we were in that I had forgotten all about. Lois and Red had to remind me of it. Pretty big events. Like throwing the knife. The thing threw a knife. Or rearranged the Hot Wheel cars. I forgot all about that shit. But as soon as they said it, I went, oh yeah, I forgot about it. So the
I mean, you remembered a lot of it.
Remembered a lot of it, but some of it I forgot.
Because a lot of shit happened like in a compressed time period.
Yeah.
So it's not.
I was fucking scared to death.
And it was a long time ago, so it's not surprising that you didn't remember.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it was
incident.
happening. Couldn't believe it was happening. I was in denial.
Yeah. So, like I said, not understandable. Mm-hmm. And honestly, that's why I think, like I said, that's why I think you should never just take, like, witness testimony, because if somebody witnesses a crime, that's a very stressful thing to witness, and they might not be seeing shit right, you know what I mean? Through no fault of their own. That's just, like, human brains work.
Comments have been awful quiet. Is comment section working?
I don't know. That's what I mean.
It's been frozen for 10, 15 minutes.
I know. I'm always kind of, like, afraid that it's going to... Yeah. But it seems like it's still streaming.
Okay, yeah.
Because sometimes that means that it's going to, like, stop streaming.
Yeah.
But I don't usually have a problem with that unless it's storming out, and it's not actually.
It's not storming.
No, it's mostly cloudy. It says, but it's not. No T-storms, which is what it usually says.
And we got a green line, so it's.
Yeah. It's all right. It's a little green square. Yeah. I guess just nobody's talking.
Yeah.
But yeah. So So she hears these heavy footsteps. She sees this figure walking by the door, and she follows it, and then it goes like around the corner of the hall, and then it comes back out again, and then it turns to look at her, and it's like, I don't know. I guess if you saw this in real life, it'd be scary, but it's like it was kind of silly looking, like on the show, because it looked like it was this big, huge, demon-y face. Thank you, Jeffy Art. Yeah, Tammy said we're just so enthralled by the story.
Hey, Jeffy Art.
Well, that's good. I hope that's what it is.
Thanks for the super chat.
Thank you, Jeffy Art. I really do love those little animated
If you guys can hit the like button, please help us out. Hit the like button.
Doing little calisthenics there.
Yeah.
That says "Hey you" on it. That's
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still here, just listening. Okay. So he turns around, and it reminded me of, what was that movie? Oh God, I can't even remember the name of it. I don't even know why it reminded me of this. But there was a movie back in the late 80s, I want to say, that had Howie Mandel in it, where he played like a monster or a demon or something. I don't even know if I saw it. I just remember seeing the fucking VHS cover. But the demon in this like reminded me of that. He just had a blue face, and then I was like, holy shit, he's got a big like Jay Leno chin. And it's because he had like this big long, or he looked like Mac Tonight a little bit. Didn't he look a little bit like Mac Tonight?
Yeah.
Like, because he had kind of like, so that's what it says disconnected.
Okay. Weird.
So it was.
It disconnected for a second. Yeah. Okay, it disconnected now.
Yeah.
It's back.
Yeah.
We had an interruption.
Yeah, we weren't saying anything exciting. But yeah, so I did think he looked like Mac Tonight a little bit, or like Jay Leno.
Yeah.
Or because his face was blue and he had this big fucking Bruce Campbell situation like going on down here with the big chin and shit, and then like he had red eyes, right?
Yeah.
And I'd be like, I don't know, like if I'd probably shit my pants if I saw that like in real life, but it's just like, I don't know, thinking about it, I'd be like, I don't know, if you're a demon, you want to be scared. It's like I feel like you should probably look scarier than that. Don't like looking like blue Jay Leno like all up in my house. But yeah, so there was that. And apparently from this, I guess that Jennifer, she said something to the effect of, oh, well, I guess this demon or entity or whatever it is. They didn't really say it was a demon, did they? They just kind of said entity.
Yeah.
But she said that, oh, I guess it can like manifest however it wants to. Like, I guess it knows what scares you or something. So I guess she was particularly scared of like big blue demon dudes that look like Jay Leno. I don't know. So that's what it showed her. I don't know. And then, evidently, Andrew then saw it in his room. He said it was like a huge black shape, like this big black form, and he called it a Batman. Not like Batman, you know what I mean, like fucking Bruce Wayne, but like a Batman. Not, or maybe like Batboy. Not like Batboy, but like a big dude that was like a bat. Maybe I was kind of picturing when he said that, I was kind of picturing, you know, like Gary Oldman in the Dracula, the Francis Ford Coppola Dracula, where he was kind of like half in his human and half in his bat form, like a man bat. Like that's kind of what I was thinking that he was describing. But I don't know. That's not really what the reenactment looked like, but that's what I was picturing. So he said he saw that in his room, and the thing like came at him like, wow, was like coming at him like all scary and shit like that. And you know, he's an 8 or 9 year old kid, so obviously he screams his fucking head off, as you would. So Jennifer is just kind of like, oh well, whatever that fucking demony thing is, that motherfucker's up there in the kids' room now. So she runs up there, and at this point she is just at the end of her. She has had enough. She's like, she didn't even have any shoes on. They both had like jammies on because they were both in bed or whatever. And she's like, I just picked the kid up, and we didn't pick up anything. We didn't take anything. We just like took the fucking car keys, and we're just like, bye. And they just like ran the fuck out of the house with bare feet and everything. So you know, I guess it was pretty scary whatever happened. It's like getting attacked by a man bat. You know, yeah, that's pretty terrifying. So they ran out the house and drive off. And she says that even when they were in the car, she was too scared to look in the back seat or look in the rearview mirror because she was afraid that that thing would be back there like looking at them, because she could like still feel it like around, you know what I mean? So yeah, so they got the fuck out, and she's like, yeah, we need to move the fuck out of here. So in November, thank you, in November of 2004, they actually put the house up for sale, because that was the final straw, getting the kid getting attacked by a man bat. But you know what I mean? And at this point, like, Norman was like, yeah, it's like, it kind of sucked and it was a big pain in the ass and everything, but I was glad they got rid of it. Like, he's like, after we moved to another house, like a smaller house, everything went back to normal and like shit was better and everything like that. And apparently whatever this fucking thing was, like, didn't follow them. Now, Jennifer said that even she still was like really obsessed with the house though, and she kept like driving past it and whatnot. she said like 5 years after they moved out, she actually got up the courage to like go back to the house and like knock on the door because she wanted to talk to the new owners to see if they had seen anything, but apparently nobody answered the door. I don't know if that meant that just like no one was living in the house or just no one was home at the time or whatever, but they made it kind of seem like all mysterious, but I don't know how that was. But I think that was pretty much the end of it, right? Yeah, that was like pretty much the end of it. So what did you think about that? The house haunted by Blue Jay Leno and a big man bat, which might be the same thing.
Yeah.
Like I said, because didn't she say that she thought that it could...
You're covering up our light there.
Oh, shit. I mean, I don't know if that light's really making...
I think it does.
To be honest with you. You know, we have so many other
There's
lights.
so many other lights.
It's not... Whoops, well...
What the hell happened with this? And this?
That don't...
Oh, shit. There you go. There you go. That shit's falling. Okay, we'll find a new place for that.
Yeah.
It just didn't make any sense.
I mean, well, yeah, but it's like I run out of room to put shit in here because, you know, not a lot of room.
What do I say about this?
Yeah.
Like I said, I've never seen this kind of haunting. I've never seen a straight on fucking like interactive or demonic type haunting. I've never seen one.
Me neither.
It's a mixture of a lot of phenomenon that doesn't match if you're talking about a poltergeist case. Like for instance, poltergeist, which I've seen, is mostly about moving objects. It's not about making apparitions, though. The closest thing to an apparition that we saw was like an occasional blue haze. It would be in another room. When you walk up on it, it kind of fades. You can't see it when you get close to it or when you look directly at it. Or you'd see that same blue haze in a ball shape. It'd be up in a corner of a room. It's kind of blue, but it's also kind of clear. And when you look directly at it, you don't see it. But if you look to the side of it, you can kind of see it. You'd have the sensation that you're being watched from there. And me and Red were like, "You see that?" Go, yeah, there's something there. You know what I mean? Fucking, you gotta look to the side. We're like, yeah. Almost kind of like a monkey wave, or what you would call like a heat wave off the top of a road. Kind of like that, mixed with something like when you rub your eyes, you see like little lights in when you're like, it's like that up there. And then we'd go like, it's gone. And you're like, yeah, it's not there anymore. You know, so I don't know. But I've never seen anything that was a humanoid object or a humanoid. What do you call it? Apparition.
I'd be curious to know if anybody in the comments had ever seen an apparition, because I've never seen one either. I'm not really sure I'd want to see one. It's like as cool as it would be, probably I don't want to be like getting up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom and seeing like some motherfucker standing down at the end of the hall.
Lois said it touched her. I saw it touch her. I saw it when she said it touched her. Red was standing on the other side of her. She said it felt like this big snake, like a boa constrictor, wrap around her waist, and then and she said it felt like it had a hand on the end of it. But I didn't see anything. I just saw her go, whoa, 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 and jump up. It wrapped around her waist, and then went down her thigh and wrapped around her thigh and her knee, and then she said it felt like it went into the floor, and then it was long, 4 or 5 feet long with a hand on the end of it. And she just said it felt like pressure, and it was kind of cold, kind of like a cold, tingly feeling. And she goes, it touched me. She gets all creeped out. Oh, it was terrible. Wow. And then she started giggling, laughing,
Yeah,
which is kind of like the...
What else are you going to do?
Yeah, what are you going to do, And it had just thrown some pillows off of bed and threw them over their heads. I didn't see that. They saw that. That's what happened before that. And I ran in. I heard them screaming. Heard Lois screaming and heard them down. Did you see that? See that? And and I ran into the room and saw them standing at the foot of the bed with the comforter wrapped around their feet, like wind had blown it there. And Red was going like pointing towards the top of the closet. Over the top of the closet there was a space up there, an empty space, and I could see the throw pillows, the square throw pillows up there. And I said, "What happened?" He goes, "It threw the pillows," and then Lois goes, "The comforter just came off the top of the bed like it was a manta ray and wrapped around us." And then as she was telling me that, she goes, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, what's got me?" And it fucking, she said it. She felt it go around her waist and then go around her leg and down.
Yeah, that's pretty.
I could see her jumping like, ooh, like was creepy. And I was just like, I knew it happened because other shit had just been happened before. And I was looking, I could see the little tips of those square pillows poking out over the little cubby hole above the closet. I was just looking there going, fuck, that's weird. Because they flew up. He goes, yeah, they flew up over our heads. And I was looking at the fucking comforter that was around him. I was just like, I didn't really want to accept it. But weird shit had just happened, before and after. So I knew it happened. But I didn't see it.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Tammy said, I've never seen anything, but my mom swears she saw her grandmother after she died. She would see her standing at the foot of her bed.
There's a lot of that.
I've heard of a lot of people saying that. But, well, speaking of apparitions, didn't you, when you were in that motorcycle accident, didn't your mom say that she saw you...
An apparition of me?
Apparition of you.
Yeah.
Before she knew that you'd been in an accident.
That's what she said. Yeah,
she was in a coma.
And she was in Brazil at the time.
Right. Yeah, so you were like in 2 different countries.
Yeah, so she was already trying to make phone calls to see if I was okay.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, because she told me
motorcycle wreck. Yeah.
And that was supposedly before she knew that. Yeah. She said she saw you standing in the kitchen.
She said I was in the kitchen, looked at her and said, "Hi, Bob."
And that she immediately knew that you weren't really there and that something was wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so she knew something bad had happened. Like she thought you were dead or something.
Yeah.
So she called, and then they said, that you were in a car, accident, and that you were in a coma.
Yeah, I don't remember it though.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying that I remember her telling me that.
I was having a near-death experience. I was up in heaven, fucking talking to people. Yeah, we did a show on it.
Yeah.
The whole entourage was there to meet me. It was weird.
But yeah, I've never seen an apparition either. The closest I've ever come to that was when I lived here in Orlando, like in an apartment by myself. I woke up in the middle of the night and saw a person standing in the doorway with a baseball bat. But the weird thing about it was that I wasn't scared. Like, it was weird. I don't know. I was kind of like, huh. But because I kind of knew, I said, I think this is sleep paralysis. I thought it was sleep paralysis. And I've never had it before or since. I think that was the only time. But for whatever reason, like, I wasn't scared. Like, holy shit, it's a real person. Which is probably what you would think. Because it's like, oh my God, there's a real person, like, broke in here. Because it wasn't the best neighborhood. So, I mean, it wouldn't have been that surprising. Like, that somebody broke in there. But for whatever, it wasn't a real person, thankfully. But that was the only time. I mean, it very well could have been an apparition, I guess. But I just saw it, and I just kind of, like, thought, oh, this is sleep paralysis. Even though I'd never had it before. Yeah. So I wasn't, like, wigging out. I was wigged out for a second, because I was like, what the fuck? But then I was like, oh, I guess it's all right. And then I just, like, went back to sleep. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I've had sleep paralysis, too.
That's the only time I've ever had it.
You can't move.
That's the only time
You'll see images in there. But the thing is that I know what that is. And it's not the same as OBE. It's not, OBE and NDE is a lot different, a lot better. But when I was in sleep paralysis, I had the feeling that I could go out of body if I wanted to, that I could shift it. Like it's only one channel over. But then thinking about it too much and trying to just leave and to become exteriorized can cause you to wake up. You know what I mean? And when you wake up out of then you can't do it.
Jeff Yart said, my mom said she saw my deceased great-grandfather walking down the hall to my crib a few days after I was born. At first, she was scared that he had come to take me. Oh, shit.
No, if she saw it, then he was there to see you.
I mean, I guess.
You want to look at it. Yeah, you want to look at the baby.
Then Tammy said, I used to get that a lot in high school, sleep paralysis. Yeah. Never knew what it was until recently. Yeah, it's like, I have a friend that has it, like, pretty bad, and she's told me, like, some horrifying shit that she's seen, but I've only had it that one time, and it didn't alarm me. Like, for a second, I was just kind of like, wait, what? Because, but then I was like, oh, this is probably sleep paralysis.
I don't like to use paranormal terminology because it's too confusing, and there's a lot of crackpottery in it. So I kind of like to use Star Wars terminology because everybody knows the terms pretty much if you watch Star Wars, and it's based upon Buddhist philosophies and some of the German type philosophies too that were based on Buddhism. So if I say something and I'll use Star Wars terminology, a lot of people understand what I'm saying, especially if they played video games. Like, what was that one called? Knights of the Old Republic, or Sith Lords, which are great fucking games. A lot of good voice acting in them, dialogue and shit, and it all fucking adheres to very advanced kind of Buddhist philosophies. Young people have a very close connection with the Force sometimes. That'd be a good way to put it. It's because their consciousnesses are not tainted by mundane ideas. So in other words, they're a lot more free thinking, and they don't really know the rules. So they're able to break rules a lot better. Because the world is a manifestation of your will and your idea. That'd be a good way that Arthur Schopenhauer would say. Reality is what you think it is, a lot of times. Doesn't mean you can always do things like jump out of a window over a 20-story building and fly. That's not going to happen. It's just that your perception has a lot to do with your state of mind. All right. And sometimes altered states of perception can impact physical reality to a certain extent. Move objects. Remote knowledge. You can know what somebody else is doing when they're far away. You can dream true. You can contact another sleeping person in their dreams, like from Dreamscape. Just that it's not quite as intense as that. But I've done it before. I've also had girlfriends that could do it to me. Stephanie could do it. And it was weird because I'd be dreaming and I could see her, and she'd try to pull me out of the dream, but it would fuck me up and wake me up. And then I thought I just dreamt it. It was bullshit. And then she said, I saw you in a dream. She'd be sleeping next to me. That's when we lived together. And I said, no. Because, yeah, don't you remember we were on top of that castle? And I was like, yeah, we were on top of that castle. So that's some weird shit. Because I told her what had happened to me.
Yeah.
And I was reading, she got me a book on astral projection. And when I was reading it, I was going, yeah, that's what it felt like. It was a method of how to exteriorize. And I did that kind of accidentally in the barracks. Because that's it. So she read it too. So she was trying to do it.
Yeah.
And part of that book said that, well, if you become conscious in a dream, knowing that you're dreaming, you can launch from there.
Yeah.
So we made an agreement that if we ever came conscious in a dream, to grab the other person. When she tried to grab me, I was in a dream.
Yeah.
I saw her face in the dream. But I woke up.
We should try that.
Yeah. Yeah.
The closest thing I've had to that is a lot of times I'll have a dream like that's real fucked up or something, and then I dream that I tell you about it, but then like when I wake up I can't remember if I actually told you or if
you dreamt that you told me.
Or if I dreamt that I told you.
Well, here's the thing. Probably I would have known what you're talking about because maybe you did tell me. That's
what I'm saying. So it's like probably I should,
You got to check with you. See, me and Jen are fucking tightly woven together. We've been together for 13 years.
Yeah.
We can fucking drive around and do things without even talking to one another, and we know what we're thinking.
I know what you're thinking pretty much all the time.
Yep. We don't even have to talk anymore.
I mean, we still do, obviously. We're saying we don't really need to.
No, I know what she's thinking.
Yeah. Well, and the thing...
We see something, I know exactly what she's thinking. She didn't even say anything.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I think people have seen us do it on the live stream, where it's like you'll just be talking about a random shit, and then you want to think of like a movie or a situation or something, and I know exactly. Yep. I know exactly. Yep. Because I know how your mind works. Because I've known you for such a long time. Yeah, I know how she works too. So. And I've known you for such a long time.
And like I said, if you're new to the show, whatever, me and Jim were friends and business partners before we started a relationship. But the thing is that was part of our relationships too.
Yeah.
We were dating other people and everything. She was married when I first met her. So it's not a normal relationship. But me and Jen are not normal people. They're not.
Well, that's true.
We're not. Yeah. We have fucking very unique backgrounds. We come from a very unique scene, and we're not like normal people at all. I don't think. Jen I've been with a lot of women. Jen has very little in common with the average woman, which is kind of a good thing. In a way it's hard because I have a hard time relating to normal people. So if I'm in an environment where I have to interact with normal people a lot, like it's really, really hard for me. Yeah. It's really hard. Dealing with Jen is a lot more like dealing with a guy. not to say that she's like, butch or like lesbian or anything like that. She's not.
I'm a little bit butch.
She's a little bit, but but that's not really what it is. It's just that she's very analytical. She's a lot like Spock. She's not as emotional as.
I told you my ex-husband used to call me Spock as well, like disparagingly.
Right. Yeah, no.
And I was like, nah, I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you.
She's very analytical and real right-brained. She's or is it
left brain?
Left brain. She's
right
very left brain.
Is...
Yeah, it's real left-brained. So she can come to understanding with a guy a lot easier than the average woman can. A lot of women, I can get along with them well, but it's not like talking to a guy. You know what I mean? With Jen's kind of a little bit more like talking to a guy. You can reason with her, and she knows what I'm talking about. She's actually seen me in other relationships.
Yeah.
Most of them were good though.
Yeah.
There's only a couple of them, like I said, where it's a more of a regular type girl, like that Disney's princess.
Yeah.
That she goes, you get away from that fucking woman. She was right, but I was just doing what guys do. They fuck hot girls. You know what I mean? I was just, hey, it's only gonna last a couple of weeks. Don't worry about it. That was a typical woman, and they're difficult to deal with.
Well, I find them difficult to deal with.
Yeah, they're difficult.
Well, like I said, I find normal people of all genders difficult to deal with.
Yeah. She was what they would call in the red pill fucking community, she'd be called a Stacy. That was a Stacy. And I could deal with Stacy, but I know a Stacy's a Stacy. There's limits with them. They're not very creative. They're not very flexible. They're very much in the box thinkers. They're normies. Not a bad thing, just not really my thing.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are normies.
A lot of people.
Like I said, I'm not. I was gonna say I'm not disparaging. I don't know. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with normies. I'm just saying that I have a hard time relating to them.
The world could not function without normies.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying that because I'm a fucking weirdo.
Yeah.
I have a hard time relating to the same, like, them on the same level. So it's like really exhausting for me to be around them. That's all. Like, and that's my fault, I guess. But
they're in the box. They're kind of conformist.
And I forget sometimes because it's like I'm so used to being around you and being around people who are not normal in various ways, and so I'm just kind of free to like be a weirdo and shit like that. So sometimes I forget that I can't be a weirdo around like other people because they get like they're like, what the fuck are you even talking about? You know what I mean? It's like, you know what I mean? So sometimes I forget, and I think that's what's exhausting is that I feel like I can't really be myself around people like that because... And another thing too that I don't really like to do, the reason that I like to just kind of hang out with people that sort of like had the same experience as me or like have the same interests as me is because I'm really impatient and I really don't like to have to explain things to people. So it's like if I meet somebody that doesn't know anything, I mean, and this is like a superficial thing, but it's like if I meet somebody that doesn't know anything about like horror movies or something like that, and it's like, and if I say something about it, or maybe like I'm wearing a t-shirt or something like that, and then they like ask me about it, and then now I'm kind of obligated to go into this big long fucking discussion and like explanation about it, and I just don't want to do that because I'm like impatient, you know what I mean? I just kind of want to do like shorthand. I want people that know, like I said, I've thought about it before because it's like, so I'll wear this necklace sometimes, for example, and sometimes people don't know who it is. Oh, who is that on your necklace? And I'm like, it's H.P. Lovecraft. And like some people don't know who that is, and so I'm like, Jesus Christ, do I really now have to explain like who H.P. Lovecraft is with like, Cthulhu mythos? They don't know what that is either. So then it's like, now I have to go through this big long fucking history lesson, and I'm like, you could look this up on the internet. It's like, why are you obliging me to like stand here and like give you all of this? If you're interested, go look it up yourself. It's like I'm not your like explainer person. So yeah, so I'm like I said, I'm real impatient like that, and it's like I would prefer to just hang out with people who already know who H.P. Lovecraft is, and we can just like have a shorthand about it. I don't want to have to like explain shit to people. You know what I mean? It's like it's very tiresome to me. So there's that issue also. Big Little says, yeah, Dave says she's a couple of freaks. I know. I mean, but. That's how we roll. That's how we roll. I was saying that it's easier for me like to hang out with people that already know stuff like the shit that we're into because it's like I don't like to have to explain shit to people.
Yeah, mostly in the subculture we come from, more than half the people kind of on the same wavelength as us.
That's what I mean.
So
and
they
you can
at least
have like
know what we're talking about.
So you can have like conversations where you don't have to like go back and be like, oh, and explain everything. Because I was using as the example, and sorry because I'm repeating this, but it's like Tom wasn't here.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know, sometimes I'll be in a thing, like I'll be in a store or something like that, and somebody will ask me, like, I'll have this necklace on, and people will ask, oh, who is that? And I'll say it's H.P. Lovecraft, and they don't know who that is, and then I have to like explain it, and they don't know what the Cthulhu mythos is, they don't know like anything about that, so it's like then I just have to go through this big long explanation. But nowadays you can just look it up.
I'm kind of a child of two worlds in a way, where I'm fucking real at home in the Gothic subculture. We've been in it forever. But there's a lot of stuff that I like that has nothing to do with the God. Like, I was being basically raised in a military academy and having military and contracting careers. Though, for those people know nothing about that at all. It's kind of a faux pas to even bring it up. So they know about me though. But when you're there in the club, that's not the topic. That's not topical, so you don't have to worry about that too much. And so I can kind of move between different worlds. And the military and law enforcement world is kind of normie.
Yeah.
Even though this is something, fucking Terrence Pops, he has a channel called Redonkulous. And he's an ex-SF guy he was basically in charge of Abu Ghraib prison for a while that he was in the army. He has all kinds of paranormal experiences. There's something about military and police guys, I think because we're closer to the animal world and about feelings and emotion and perception. We tend to, and life and death struggles and seeing death a lot. We have paranormal experiences. We know this shit isn't exactly as it seems. Spiritual shit happens. And I guess that goes way back. I mean, it goes back to the fucking Aztecs. Fucking eagle warriors and shit. They were taking drugs and having spiritual experiences too. It was religious it was a religious status to be a warrior, because especially in Mesoamerican Indians and stuff, Native American Indians, part of your religious duty was to take captives for sacrifice if you were, the Mexica or the Mexica, probably how they would pronounce it in Spanish. But people don't realize that cutting somebody's heart out was your religious duty to have your heart cut out. All those guys had the same religion. Yeah, all those guys had the same religion.
Take that shit out.
Had to play back the blood debt. So war was more like a sport for those guys, a religious sport. So soldiers and cops and shit like that have weird experiences a lot. Paranormal type shit.
Well, honestly, like, I listen to a lot of those kind of scary stories channels. Then people send in, like, they're supposedly true, like, paranormal. Some of them are obviously bullshit. But a lot of them are, like, cops, security guards, stuff like that have, like, all kind of weird shit happen.
Yeah. So we can say that, the military and police profession might seem very normy. But no, you're living at an extreme a lot of times. So weird shit can happen. Even if you're a pilot, the motherfuckers see UFOs. I believe them. Which, that would be paranormal. That's outside what the normal thing would be. They don't see ghosts. Soldiers see ghosts. Ghosts of the dead. They just tend to. They're in places where people are being killed,
Yeah. Tammy says, telling someone you're an atheist and you like horror movies and serial killer documentaries, automatically you're a weirdo. Yeah, pretty much. Now, I will say that it has improved a great deal. When I was in high school in the late 1980s, if they saw you, like, read, I actually got sent to the guidance counselor's office several times because some of my teachers, like, reported me for, like, literally reading horror novels and wearing black and stuff.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if that would happen anymore as long as you weren't doing anything, like, super alarming.
Not anymore.
But but back in the 80s, for sure. Like, because it wasn't as common.
Satanic Panic era.
Yeah, that was still Satanic Panic. Because I was in high school from 88, 89, and 1990. So, yeah, so I got reported a couple of times. Like, just for reading fucking Clive Barker and listening to goth music and looking like a weirdo, having half my head shaved, that kind of shit. So yeah, they would send you the guy. They thought something was the matter with you. So, Like I said, there weren't that many of us
Yeah.
back then. But yeah, all right. So, you ready to wrap it up? It's about
Yeah,
9.
we're gonna wrap it up.
It's about 9 o'clock.
Yeah. Time
I
to get
gotta-
ready for bed.
Now I gotta get up early.
We're fucking like old people, man. We go to bed at like 9:30.
Well, if
You gotta
I
get up at 5.
if I didn't have to get up at 5 in the
Yeah.
morning, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't want to go to bed at 9 o'clock.
So I
either.
go ahead. I'm on her schedule. I go to sleep same time. wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
But you know, it gives you more time to work on shit.
I know, but it's like it kind of sucks though because then when I come home, I'm like so fucking sleepy
Yeah.
that it's like. And I still got shit I gotta do when I get home, and it's like, and I feel like I still, and I'm just like, I don't want to do it. I just want to lay in
Jenny's
bed.
got
and
the
watch
cutest dress on. This is a little fairy
I love
core
this dress actually.
that we got.
I have
from
one
Shein.
like this, but it's also like it's,
Stand up and show it to you.
it's
It's got
red- it's
adjustable
red.
length. You can make it long down to the knee or all the way up to your ass cheeks hanging out at the bottom. It's
Yeah,
got little
see?
butterflies, and
Got
it's like
butterflies.
something out of the damn 90s. Back up so everybody can see the whole thing. Yeah. That's her little fairy core dress. It's
Yeah.
like something out of the 90s. Yeah, it's cute.
Yeah.
Cute. Sure.
They have a bunch like this. It's very. I guess it's very kind of. There's kind of like a return to the '90s type of thing.
Yeah, it's like something Mazzy Star would wear,
Right.
or like
I
Courtney
like
Love.
them. I like them though.
Yeah.
The one I have this one that has butterflies on it, and then I have one that's kind of like a dark, dusty rose,
Yeah.
and it has. Is it skulls?
Yeah.
Is it skulls? Skulls and roses. I think it has on it. Maybe.
Tammy's saying that's pretty. Yeah, we got that off the Shein app.
Yeah.
Get that Shein app. That was like an $11 dress.
Yeah. It was super cheap.
It's super cheap.
And it's nice. It's
fucking
like
nice.
it's really thick. Like
Hell
it's
yeah.
really nice.
You might have to wait a week to get it, but it's
Shit,
fucking
that's-
it's fucking.
I've been very happy with everything. that
Everything
I've
you
got
get from Shein
there.
is nice.
Everything is like very good quality.
Go on Shein and just fucking search gothic and
Like I
fairy
said,
core dresses and all that shit.
I thought it was gonna be like Wish, and you would get it, and it was like made
Yeah.
of newsprint or something.
Yeah.
But it's no. Everything's like really.
Got
Yeah,
her,
she said she's got Shein.
Yeah, it's off Shein. Got her a whole new wardrobe for like $250-$300. Get all this.
I know. I can't believe it. I was like, I still have clothes I haven't worn yet.
Yeah.
That's how
When's
many.
the last time that happened?
That's how many fucking clothes
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I got.
Yeah.
And we didn't even spend that much.
Yeah.
And I still have like there's like 2 pairs of pants I haven't
Yeah.
worn. There's like I got a bunch of tops I haven't worn. There's a couple dresses I haven't worn.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really do like it. We're gonna make another purchase.
Yeah,
this-
we're gonna run it. We're gonna make another run this.
maybe
month.
maybe Friday, like when I
Okay.
get paid again.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll look for some more
Yeah,
stuff.
well, because I got a 20% off for $100 purchase with free shipping.
Oh well, there we go.
Okay.
All right,
we'll
we need
just
to.
use that. So
Well,
for $80 you can get $100.
We'll throw some stuff in the cart.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. So like I said, on Wednesday we're gonna be doing another paranormal show. We're gonna be talking about the demon house, quote unquote, the Ammons haunting case,
Interesting case.
which Zach Bagans, I'm gonna call him Zach Bagans. I don't care. But which he did a documentary about, which is on Amazon Prime if you want to watch it. We watched it last night. But yeah, it's an interesting case. I wrote about it for my book Unseen Hands, so I've been wanting to do a show about it for a while. So yeah, we're gonna do one on Wednesday, so that should be a lot of fun. So we will see you guys again on Wednesday night. Please have a good rest of your evening and have a good day tomorrow, and we'll see you then. Good night.